Today we are going to look if Bitcoin is going up forever, and what better person to have it explained than Michael Saylor, the person himself.
So Bitcoin price has gone through quite a roller coaster. What do you think is the high point it's going to hit?
I think it'll go up forever, right? I mean, I think the Bitcoin is going to climb in a serpentine fashion. It's going to advance and come back. And
so now he has already said it, that Bitcoin will basically go up forever. And in the other part, he's going to explain why that is actually the case. And for everybody that is kind of confused with the word serpentine, that basically means a snake in French, serpent. And that's a French word that is basically transitioned to English, and that basically means that Bitcoin is going to go up and down, and this is basically equivalent to volatility.
And it's going to keep climbing. I think that the volatility attracts all the capital into the marketplace. And so the volatility makes it the most interesting thing in the financial universe. It also generates massive yield and massive returns for traders. And that attracts capital. Like, we're talking about the difference between 5% return and 500% return. Mm-hmm. So the fast money is attracted by the volatility. The volatility has been decreasing year by year by year. I think that it's stabilizing. I don't think we'll see as much volatility in the future as we have in the past.
I gotta agree with that statement, and that's basically because of Bitcoin mining. If you already know a little bit about it, then you know that every 4 years there's a Bitcoin halving happening, and the next is coming up this April. That's quite exciting. And that basically means that miners do only receive half of the earnings that they would basically receive before that. So that's basically a supply shock. And since less Bitcoin are getting into the market, then there is less volatility, because when the supply is a little less, then we don't expect huge fluctuation anymore.
I think that if we look at Bitcoin and model it as digital gold, the market cap goes to between 10 and 20 trillion. But gold is defective property. Gold is dead money. You have $1 billion of gold that sits in a vault for a decade. It's very hard to mortgage the gold. It's also very hard to rent the gold. You can't loan the gold. No one's going to create a business with your gold.
True.
So gold doesn't generate much of a yield. So for that reason, most people wouldn't store $1 billion for a decade in gold. They would buy $1 billion of commercial real estate property. And the reason why is because I can rent it and generate a yield on it that's in excess of the maintenance cost. So if you consider digital property, that's $100 to $200 trillion addressable market. So I would think it goes from 10 trillion to 100 trillion as people start to think of it as digital property.
So just that right now Bitcoin is around $1 trillion, and that's already a lot. A lot of people have never even thought that Bitcoin would go up that much, and now here Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin going up to 10 or 100 trillion. So you can definitely see that Michael Saylor is not a guy that only looks like 1 or 2 years ahead. He actually looks ahead for decades. That's what he does, and that's important to consider.
What does that mean in terms of price per coin?
At 500,000, right? That's a $10 trillion asset. At 5 million, that's a $100 trillion asset.
So you think it crosses 1 million, it can go even higher?
Yeah, I think it keeps going up forever. I mean, there's no reason it couldn't go to 10 million a coin. Right?
So here you have it. Michael Saylor believes basically because of the fundamentals of Bitcoin and what value it can provide in the future, that maybe in his opinion, in some years, a 10 million Bitcoin is possible. That sounds kind of crazy. But if you consider everything that he has said, And if you're interested to watch the whole video, I leave a link down below to the Lex Fridman podcast. And yeah, I think that's incredible, and you should not neglect that, especially when you are here for the money. But Bitcoin is so much more than just money. It's the new technology. It's digital money, digital property. And that's really exciting for the future, in my opinion. And now I also want to show you some other stuff, why he believes basically that Bitcoin can go up forever. And here I have prepared, like the chart, like the normal chart. Here, like probably all of you know Bitcoin market cap, or if you don't, that's basically one of the sites where, like crypto nerds kind of like to look up the price, if it goes up or down. And yeah, Bitcoin has basically done what Michael Saylor said. It has been going up basically forever. Like in 2012, it was around, what was it, $5 a coin, and now Bitcoin is trading around $63,000, almost $46,000. That's quite insane. So Bitcoin has not done anything else than going up forever ever since it was created. And yeah, it was basically doing that in this 4-year cycles, but every cycle is a little different. But the most value, why this is even possible, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of Michael Saylor, is because there is a limited supply of Bitcoins around, and that's quite interesting. Now we gotta look at this, because here I have looked it up. It says the maximum supply of 21 million Bitcoins will be reached around the year 2140. We are not going to be around at this point unless like technology advances a lot during this time. But yeah, it probably will. We will see. I would not say no if we would still be around at this point. That would be exciting. And what does it say? After which no new Bitcoins can be mined. So there is a limited supply of Bitcoins that can ever be mined. And yeah, we should definitely not neglect this fact, because like if you have just like fiat money, like a dollar, Swiss franc, euro, there is not a limited supply. Like the federal government or the national bank decides if there is more money incoming into the market, into the economy. And this basically means that your money can be easily deflated just because a person in the government or in a national bank decides to print more money. And that basically means that the money that you earn on your job is less valuable in the future than it is right now. And Bitcoin is basically the opposite of that. Like there will ever be like 21 million Bitcoins ever around, and no more Bitcoins will get mined after that. So that looks really promising. But yeah, there is also a little downside, because like the purpose of Bitcoin is basically that the person that owns it is in charge. Like you have your private key, you can store it wherever you want. I wouldn't recommend to store it on an exchange, because then you don't really own the private key that gives you exclusive access to it. That was basically the reason why people that invested or traded Bitcoin on the platform FTX basically lost all their money, because they did not have like access to the private key. If they would have done it a different way, they would still have their Bitcoin, because they actually own it when they have their private key and store it on like a cold wallet. But what I want to say here is like there are already like 3.7 million Bitcoins have already been lost. So if we now subtract that to like the 21 million Bitcoins, like that makes around 17.3 million Bitcoins that are still around. And yeah, there are a lot of big wallets around that own a lot of Bitcoin, like Satoshi Nakamoto, the guy that invented Bitcoin. He owns 1 million. There are also big institutions that own Bitcoin. So yeah, the more rare, or how do you say it? The less Bitcoins that are around and people still want it, then that basically means, yeah, it gets more valuable. Especially when this adaptation happens, that Bitcoin becomes eventually digital property. That's actually really exciting in my opinion. So there are exciting times ahead, and yeah, let's see what it holds for the future. And yeah, if you like the video, please leave a like here and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think about this statement of Michael Saylor and my opinion.